Hello again, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Watch Party Wednesday. I'm Lee Gordon, coming to you live from Chicago, home of Brunswick, where we are thrilled to welcome our incredible Freedom Boat Club owners and members from all over the world. For tonight's tips from the dock, we have our Director of Operations, Nick Thomas, here, who's going to provide you with everything you need to know to master vessel docking. Mr. Nick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well, Lee. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Docking is near and dear to my heart because it is one of the things that gives me heartburn. We just welcomed a new Sea Ray into the family last summer, and when I have guests on the boat, I'd like to be able to teach them how to dock the boat. I'd also like to be able to teach myself how to dock the boat. But as most of them are new boaters, and knowing that not every boat has joystick, walk me through some of the easiest tips on how to best get the boat back into the dock.
All right. Yeah, I can do that. That's no problem. And congratulations on your new boat. That's fantastic. Yeah. So we'll break it down into about 5 easy steps, right? And the first is safety, go figure, right? Before you do any closed boat maneuvering, you always want to check your surroundings, make sure there's no other boats or no other people immediate in the area, and make sure that actually all of your crew and all of your guests are safe and inside the vessel, right? And then you want to make sure you have your dock lines ready before you perform this entire process. And when you're performing this entire process, you want to make sure you're going at a slow speed, bumping in and out of idle into forward to reverse or ahead dead slow and ahead dead stern, right? So that's just the basic safety first step that you want to make sure you're doing. And now as we get to the approach, you want to make sure that you have your alignment up into the front of the slip. When you're approaching the slip, you want to stay about 1 boat length away from your slip, and you always want to try and be in the middle of the fairway or the channel that you're operating in. That way you're not going to get too close to other boats and potentially bump into them, but you're also not getting too close to your slip, so you can safely maneuver and get back in there. Right before you go and back in, you want to make sure that your vessel is aligned up with the slip and you are completely stopped. Right? Can't emphasize that one enough. You want to make sure that your vessel is completely stopped. And then you want to point the prop towards the slip and then put the boat into reverse, right, just past idle. The engine will then pull your boat into the direction that you want it to go. And sometimes your bow, it might start yawing away in the opposite direction. That's okay. Don't freak out. You simply then put the vessel into neutral, rotate the wheel in the opposite direction from the way the bow is moving, and bump the throttle forward for 2 or 3 seconds. And that'll push your bow right back around. And then you continue slowly backing into that slip, right? The next step, you want to make sure that you pull the vessel alongside the dock, right? So you're going to continue backing into that slip, bumping the throttle nice and slow, right? So you're going to bump and you're going to glide, you're going to assess, and then you might give it more power, glide, and then assess again, right? And then the last thing you want to do is you need to stop the motion of the vessel because you have all of that momentum going back into the slip. So in order to stop your rearward movement, you want to have to momentarily bump the throttle forward to get the boat to completely stop, right? And then literally you can just hand the dock staff your lines, which is very important, and then give the bow or the midship line first and then the stern line last. And the reason you want to give the bow line first is because once they get that bow line secured, if you do start to drift away, you can just motor it right back in and tuck it right back into your slip nice and easy, right? And then after you're done doing that, the best part is make sure that the dock staff tie the boat up nice and tight before anybody gets off, right? And you then make sure that your boat is definitely in neutral, right? So those are just real quick, easy steps to make sure on how you can back your vessel in.
You make it sound easy, and I know it just takes practice, right? So, I'm here in Chicago. It's known as the Windy City, and 100% of the time when I go to dock the boat or when I have people on the boat or there's people watching, it's always windy. There's always currents. So do you have any advice for our members who are docking during, let's say, tougher conditions?
Yeah, of course. That's actually a really good point, right? Wind and current are the 2 biggest variables that anybody will fight, right? And ideal conditions would be like a day like today down where I'm at. It's a bright, sunny day, no obstructions, no wind, very, very little current, right? But when you're performing those maneuvers under adverse conditions with the wind or the current, it'll be pushing your vessel. You're still going to follow that same process, but you're going to have to do a lot more wheel work, which means, and a lot more throttle work, right? Which means that you're going to need to have to go hard over, or all the way over to port, or all the way over to starboard, and then maybe give it a little bit more power than you typically would, or a little bit less power than you typically would, depending on which way you're going, right? And it, like I said, it's a little bit more wheel work and a little bit more throttle work, but that is the best way to go about it if you're fighting wind or you're fighting current. And yeah, I guess Chicago, the windy city, might be something like that.
So let's say, I mean, at the end of the day, we've gone through your 5 steps. We've done everything we can. If it's just not working, what do you do?
Mercury Verado joysticks. That's all I'm. No.
Exactly right. You have somebody jump in the boat and do it for you.
Right. So if it's just not working, right? Don't worry. Even if you get into trouble, no big deal. Go back to where you started from. Realign the vessel. Take a deep breath and start over. Right? Go slow and go safe, and just start over. I might not like the way I'm lined up 2 or 3 times, and I might go all the way back to the middle of the fairway and come all the way back into my slip. And it might take me 2 or 3 times to get it in, but I'm going to be safe and practical getting it in, right? And that's just what it is. If you don't like the way it's going and you don't like the way it's looking, stop what you're doing, back out, and start all over again after you take a few deep breaths. The deep breaths are really underrated and very important.
Well, I do appreciate you throwing some golf terminology in there. I mean, all you got to do is just get it in the fairway, right? I mean, it's like in golf. You get it in the fairway, you're in good shape.
That's it. Keep it in the middle.
Nick, I can't thank you again for joining us here in our Freedom Social Watch Party Wednesday. And members, stay tuned for next week as we continue to cheers to freedom, family, and fun in 2021.
Hi, I'm Nick Thomas with Freedom Boat Club. Today we're going to talk about securing a vessel for longer-term mooring. Before we head out, and certainly before I get to where I'm going, I want to make sure I have my line set, especially if I'm the only one on the boat, when I don't have an extra hand to help me out. That's what we're going to do now. So we're going to practice going our bowline line real quick before we go out. We're going to make our loop. We're going to put the rabbit through the hole, chase it around, and back through, and then tighten her down. When doing a cleat hitch, you bring it around the base of the cleat, up and over, twist it, and pull it through. So you're always going to come in like you typically do. Get the right approach angle when you're lining up to dock the vessel. Pick your approach point, and then just glide her right in. Now that we're on the dock, we're going to secure our bow line. We're going to make sure it goes to the forward piling past the bow, and because there's no cleats on this dock, we're using a bowline knot. Just come on down, throw your line around. Now we're going to get our stern line. Same exact thing, except we're going to make sure the stern line goes to a piling past the boat. And the last line we're going to get is your spring line. Now that we have all 3 lines on the boat, we're good for an extended stay of mooring. But I'm going to check my line length for tides, and I'm going to deploy some fenders. Now we're going to cast off. We're going to start with our stern line and work our way up. Start at your stern, and then you can go to your bow, or you can go to your spring. It all depends on how you are going to depart the dock. Thanks for coming along today while we covered extended stay mooring and tying up your vessel. Remember, boat safe and have fun. Now we're going to talk about paddles and dock poles. This one happens to be a combination unit. Hopefully you'll never need the paddle part. right? But in the event you ever do in an emergency, you can deploy the paddle and you can use it to maneuver your boat into a safe area where you can then deploy your anchor and hopefully call for help and assistance. This one, you can use the T-handle as your hook, and the paddle, there's a grip to purchase. So you can use it to help somebody over or hook onto a cleat and pull the boat close to. We're also going to talk about the telescoping dock pole. This is what most mariners use and most have on their vessel. They're real compact, but they can get real large real quickly. You're going to use this when you're going in and around other boats or in and around a dock. You can use it to hold your boat where you need to until you get your lines on it, or you can use it to push off from your dock or push off from another boat if one gets too close and you're going slow. All of the boats at Freedom Boat Club have a dock pole and or paddle on board. We want our members to have a safe and enjoyable time out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with our approach, and we're going to come right up into the slip. I'm going to need to grab the dock pole. We're going to use it to grab the dock. If you think other boaters would find this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.